Hey everybody, this is Mac Daddy Mike, and I'm here playing Mega Man 4, a true NES classic, and one of my favorite Mega Man games. Anybody who watched my critical breakdown review, analysis, whatever you want to call it, of Mega Man Unlimited last year will know that I am a huge fan of the series, have played most of the games, although there were a few that I kind of intentionally skipped out on. And the series holds a special place in my heart, both from a gameplay standpoint and from a design standpoint. So what this video will be is, I'm basically just going to be playing through Mega Man 4 for fun, shits and gigs and whatnot, while also offering my kind of perspective on the game and the series itself. So the commentary, I guess, will be kind of jumping back and forth between me talking about this game and the others in the series. Why Mega Man 4? Well, Mega Man 4, to me, in my humble opinion, is the best of the NES Mega Man games. And what I mean by best, of course, is that it's the most well-rounded. No game is perfect, but in terms of its overall design, Mega Man 4 has plenty of strengths, and its weaknesses aren't quite as critical as 2 and 5, or as numerous as 3 and 6. And obviously we're not counting 1. So I'll kind of be reflecting on that as we go along, and since I will have plenty to say on Mega Man 4, I'll talk, because this is the game that I'm playing, I'll talk about other games as well. And I do say, you know, I consider myself to have a fairly informed opinion on the series, just based on experience and kind of, I don't know, I put a decent amount of thought into it, but I am just one man and one man's opinion, and I encourage discourse. So feel free to disagree or offer another perspective. Don't take my word as final, that's for sure. But let's jump right into it. And I'm going to start off a little unconventionally with a Ringman stage. Neat little vertical stage, very vertical inspired. Mega Man 4, I noticed, has a lot of kind of vertical climbing upward sections, more so than I felt 3 had. 3 did a lot of gravity falling, like stages that work downwards. This is one of the few stages I can really think of that starts off directly vertical, like a Lekman stage or whatnot. But in terms of my experience with the series, this was not actually the first game that I played in the Mega Man series. First one I played was Mega Man 5. My earliest memory of the series was Waveman stage, which is not your conventional Mega Man stage for sure. But I was over at a friends of a friend's place. Oh no. Friends of a friend's place, and I just had this early memory of playing Waveman stage. And then after that... Oh, dang it! After that, I rented the rest of the series, starting with 2, then owned 3 and 4, and then eventually played 6, and then 1 was the last one that I played, which I guess is not the normal start for most people. But you'd think by the time I got to 1, I would have had a clouded perception of it, especially seeing how far the series has evolved. But when I think back to 1, you know, it's a decent game. Obviously, it evolved into a series that we really liked, but there's not really much you can say about 1. It was a rough start of a series. It was an idea that was kind of half-baked, and they would bake it at 450 for a good long while since then, into what we know and love. Gameplay, you know, there were some problems with the engines, it was slippery, but the level design for starting off a series was fine. And I can't really comment too much on level design for most of these games, because I do think that these are all very good games, and you know, there are few cases where bad level design stands out. So in terms of the faults of Mega Man 1, I'd say the scoring system, obviously a little too arcadey. They ditched that right away, and you can really tell what was a good idea compared to a bad idea based on how much it persisted throughout the series. So scoring system gone right away, you know, an arcadey start, but wasn't something that the series needed. And there were a few issues like the magnet beam, of course, a mandatory item that's kind of hidden away that requires you to backtrack to get it. Not something that the series stuck with. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip right by you there, little buddy. And the magnet beam had weird not hit detection, but launch detection. Use detection, I don't know what to call it. It was finicky to use, and that made it not the most useful of utility. But at least it came up with this idea of having utilities other than the main boss weapons. And that's something that would persist throughout the series. Jump! And then the only other thing that really stands out about Mega Man 1 is that last stage, that last boss gauntlet. I mean, people think back fondly on it now, especially when you talk about Mega Man X and how people like how you just encounter the Maverick refights in the middle of the stages instead of how they do it with most games in the teleporter room. But, you know, in Mega Man 1 you fought, what, 4 bosses in a row without any chance to heal, and then 2 final bosses? Not the best way to design a final stage, that's for sure. It's a huge spike in difficulty that doesn't work out well, and obviously they ditched that right away. Quick words about this stage, because I zipped right by it. It really goes to show how well they thought into this idea of the Mega Buster in this game. This whole stage is really built around its mini-bosses, or its big enemy encounters. So the giant hula hoop enemies and the hippo enemies, which are completely opposite in design. The big hippos you basically cannot beat with a Mega Buster because every time you wait to charge, it rises back up to the top. So it's a boss or mini boss that's designed around rapid fire, whereas the more circular hula hoopy enemy is designed around your Mega Buster. It only makes itself available to be attacked for a split second, so it's all about saving up the good shot and timing it just right. It really goes to show how much thought they put into the design and in how they were implementing the Mega Buster. When you see stuff like that. Oh. Most people don't start with Ring Man. And I probably should have practiced playing this game before starting the stream. It's been a couple of years now, but whatever. I always enjoy this fight. It can be a little repetitive, but it is so fast and exciting that I don't mind at all. Boom! Oh wait, nope. How about boom? There we go. I like to play a little game, and I have since I was a little kid. If you stand right in the very center of the room when you beat a boss, oh, I didn't do it. But if you're right in the very middle, it won't actually make you jump. You'll just kind of teleport up to the middle of the screen. It's some weird glitch. I don't know why it does it. Must be some kind of animation trigger that's not being worked right. But a fun little game I like to play with myself is trying to get into the middle of every boss room after beating a boss and seeing if I can pull off the little glitch. So I guess I'm 0 for 1 so far, but whatever. Who else is on? Let's go backwards here. Drill Man. Very, very catchy theme song. Now, moving along in the series, Mega Man 2, of course, upped the ante significantly and created the formula that we really all know and love, bumping it up to... Alright, chase me away. Bumping it up to 8 bosses, more utilities, more depth in general, the fortress stages and how it's presented, everything just kind of stuck with that game throughout the series. And you can see why. It is a very strong game, and I can understand why some people would say that it's the best of the NES games, and the one that so many are modeled after. But, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, Mega Man 2 really has some crippling design flaws. In fact, I'd say there are 3 main problems, which you could probably guess. Hold on, I'm just gonna not make that jump. Okay. Oh, it's risky. See, I really should practice this. First of the 3 main problems, and this one's probably obvious, the metal blades. You know, the whole point of the boss weapons is to add a little bit of depth to the gameplay, different ways to play, different ways to encounter enemies, and different ways to defeat enemies. And kind of make up for the weaknesses of the Buster, which only fires in one direction, you know, only goes at a certain speed, is only so powerful. So there's actually a really strong weapon set in Mega Man 2 that makes up for all these little weaknesses. You have Heatman's weapon, which you can charge up, like the Mega Buster now, to do massive damage. You have the quick boomerang, which is really, really fast, but close range. You have bubble lead? I don't know. That travels on the ground. Air shooter goes up towards the skies to hit enemy above you in kind of a weird attack arc. I'm not going to fall for that one again. Every weapon has some strength to it that makes it a viable utility. And then there's the metal blades, which are supremely powerful and fire in all directions and barely use any weapon energy and basically make all the other weapons obsolete. Ha 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 ha. Uh-oh. So, when they were thinking about the metal blades, it's really the one weapon that stands out as poorly thought, because it completely imbalances the game. I mean, why use any other weapon when the metal blade can either do the job just as good or better? And a lot of people say that it makes the game too easy, and I agree, it does. It's just a simply overpowered weapon. And there are a lot of ways that they could have made it less powerful. You know, maybe have a higher, like, just in terms of balance, a higher energy usage, or not firing in so many directions, or it's not as powerful. It's a really easy problem to fix, but they didn't, and it's something that really stands out. Woo! I should probably talk about this level before I move on to the next thing. It's a fun one! Okay, I'll get back to that later. The second biggest flaw in Mega Man 2, and this one might be a little contentious, is the Quickman stage in general. And if anybody's, like I said, watched my Mega Man Unlimited Critical Breakdown, I talked about this in depth, but basically the Quickman stage is one of the most poor designed stages in the series, and part of that is because it removes basically all depth. There's only one way to get through it. You don't really have any way to approach it differently. It's all just solving the one platforming puzzle in the one way that it's supposed to be solved. And you'll notice that the Mega Man series itself and Capcom had strayed away from that kind of level design ever since Mega Man 2, only using those lasers a couple of times in the actual series. But for some reason, fan games use them all the time, because it's a cheap difficulty supplement. Unfair difficulty supplement, if you ask me, because it's just rote repetition until you figure out, you know, the exact button combination to get it right. Ah! So close. So, and I can't really think of anybody I know or anybody I've met online who looks back fondly on Quickman stage. It's not a stage that people go to first when they've turned on Mega Man 2 and are like, oh, I can't wait to get a Quickman stage. So, I think that should speak wonders itself. And the last main problem with Mega Man 2 is Wily 4, I believe is the stage. And that's the one that everyone remembers with the Crash Bomb boss that... The idea wasn't terrible, of having a puzzle boss that you kind of have to figure out what the gimmick is in order to defeat it. But the gimmick is tedious, it's frustrating, you end up having to... Unless you're an expert player and you know the exact strategy to... let's go with Diamond. You know the exact strategy to beat it in one shot, you end up having to farm back for Crash Bomb energy, and it's just... It becomes a waste of time, and it's really tedious and annoying, and you can tell why they didn't do something like that again. And again, that's a sign of a poor design mistake when they don't repeat it. Thankfully, they learned from it. Or maybe they hadn't, and I'm missing something that is similar to that boss in other games that just is failing my memory. Feel free to tell me if that's not it. Do have a question here. Did I ever play Mega Man Legends? And you caught me? That is one of the few games that I have not played. And it's an access thing, really. I never encountered it on the N64. I don't have the actual cart. I think it may have released on PS1 as well, or I might be remembering wrong. But it's just an access thing. I haven't gotten the chance to play it, and maybe I'll get around to it eventually. I do like 3D gameplay to an extent, and I hear this series kind of does a lot of weird things, but charming things, and that's up my alley. The only other really big Mega Man game or series that I avoided other than Legend games was Star Force, and that was a personal decision. I really loved, and I mean like I really loved the Battle Network series, but it's just, like, as soon as I saw that they dumbed down the action and made all the combat on one plane, it felt like the Star Force games were like Battle Network Lite, with so much of the depth removed. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake, but I haven't heard too much to say the otherwise. So I guess maybe I'm not missing out too much. I still do love the Battle Network series, for the most part. So maybe eventually I'll give it a chance, if people hype it up enough. I should probably say something about Dive Man Stage. Love the music. This was actually one of the first songs that I ever learned to play on piano and recorder. It's just got a fun melody, I don't know. And this pit, fun story about this pit. One of the few branching paths in the game that leads to a hidden bonus item, bonus utility. I did not find this myself when I played through the first time. My sister and I used to play this game all the time, and one session we were playing through, and my sister got bored, and she's like, "Okay, I'm done." And she, instead of turning the game off, she wanted to just like kill herself. So she jumped into that pit, thinking that it would be an instant death. And then when it kept on going, our minds were just blown. We're like, "Whoa, what is down that pit?" And then we found the wire adapter. And I thought that was the only adapter for the longest time. I found out about the balloon adapter by complete accident. I put in a password back when you actually wrote down your own passwords. And I guess I input it wrong, and when I started the game, I had the balloon adapter in my inventory and was like, "What? There's another one?" It was quite shocking for young little me. Whoop. Yep, probably could have waited for that. Never quite understood how these mines worked. Some of them work on proximity, but I feel like, I don't know, that one activated differently. Maybe it is all proximity, but that one didn't go off, and I was pretty close to it. Now it goes off. I don't know. I don't understand it. You'll notice I'm playing through these levels in an order that doesn't really give me any advantage against the bosses. Yeah. I don't know, just like to switch things up. I've played through this game enough times as a kid that sometimes you just need to play things a little bit differently. Another boss that really uses the Mega Buster to great effect, because you have to charge up while dodging and you can lay off a really good damaging shot. But again, it's the rapid fire that saves you from the missiles. I'm getting really lucky with the boss pattern here. This is a much more exciting fight when he just kind of rotates between the dive bombing attack and... did I get it? No, I don't think so. I like that the music waited for my air bubble to make it to the top. That's just kind of funny. Damn it, I was off on that one too. Oh well. Time to get into some of the really contentious stuff, and I know I have some unpopular opinions on the series with this one, but Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 was the first NES game that I owned, like the first Mega Man NES game, anyway. Let's go Skullman. And I loved it as a kid, but it's one of those games that you look back on and you play these days with kind of a better idea of how design aspects work together to formulating a balanced game. And you realize that it's really not that good. And, you know, maybe you disagree, but hear me out. I'll explain it as best as I can. First of all, the good things, absolutely terrific soundtrack. I mean, the series has always been known for a great soundtrack. Mega Man 2 kind of had a rock techno vibe, whereas Mega Man 3 really took advantage of kind of rock sentimentalities in its composition, and there are some super memorable tracks that stand out in that game. Absolutely love the soundtrack, can't say a bad thing about it. And the major contributions to the series are, of course, Rush, who is so iconic now, and the Slide, which is terrific. Adds so much mobility, it adds so much depth to encounters, it allows the game to kind of create more speedy enemies without making the game unbalanced, because you now have a way to counter enemy speeds with your Slide. Thank you, Flip Top. But it is a sloppy and unfinished game. And if you read into the actual design history of Mega Man 3, that's exactly what it is. It was an unfinished game that was kind of rushed to completion. The original creators, they have often stated that Mega Man 3 was kind of a failed experiment, and that a lot of things went wrong during the development process. I mean, really, you can see from the title screen where there's no story, it just kind of pops up to the title, and maybe a great opening tune, but it feels like it's missing something. It feels like there should be a story to set up the game. Whoa, that was close. And there are a lot of small things like that, but there are a lot of big things like that. This is my secret little farming spot in this stage, by the way. I don't know if other people do this, but when I was a kid, I always used to... If I got here with low health, I would just stand here and farm forever, get some extra lives. That was my little secret. Now it's your little secret, too. So, in terms of the major flaws of Mega Man 3, and I have many that I can talk about, but... Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'll go first. There you go. I love that little... I don't even know why they did it for Skullman, but it's just a cool little thing. He doesn't do anything until you do it. So, Mega Man 3 has, in my opinion, the worst weapon set of the entire... I don't want to say franchise, because I'm sure there are some shitty weapons in the X series. But in terms of the classic games, for sure it's got the weakest weapon set. And the problem with that is that too much of it is projectile-based. Instead of having a wide degree of different weapon types, like in Mega Man 2, where there are barrier weapons and time-stopping weapons, and weapons that shoot directly up and stuff like that. Oh, come on! I thought I had it that time. Mega Man 3 is 7 slightly different projectiles, and then top spin, which, I'm sorry, is a bad weapon, is a bad utility. There's basically no reason to use it over any other weapon. It puts you in danger, it's glitchy, the weapon usage is glitchy, the hit detection is glitchy, sometimes it'll knock you into a pit even if you make good contact with an enemy. It's just a sloppy weapon. But the other ones are barely any better. I mean, you have one that shoots a little extra fast, one that shoots a little extra slow but is more powerful. You have one that travels on the ground, you have one that homes in, you have one that can be aimed, but basically they all fire a projectile directly in front of Mega Man. So it doesn't add for as much utility as other weapon sets in the series. And in a lot of cases, it's not as useful as just using the regular Buster. And even with that, it's still slightly imbalanced. I mean, there are few situations that you would not use Shadow Blade or Magnet Missile, both of which offer the kind of mobility supplements that the other weapons don't do. I mean, Surge Snake is super weak. There's pretty much no reason to use it over any other weapon. Spark Shock is useless against most enemies and is actually a detriment to you in a lot of situations because it doesn't do damage. And I don't think you can switch weapons while it's active. Same with Gemini Laser. It's really a poor weapon set that is difficult to use and difficult to use effectively. And the effective usage is actually where I'm going to draw a line, especially later when we talk about Mega Man 5. But aside from the weapon set, I love the slowdown on that. I've always did that as a kid. Aside from the weapon set, its utilities are also untested, I say, or poorly tested. And of course I'm talking about Rush Jet. A lot of people like Rush Jet, and they say, oh, well, Rush Jet was the best in Mega Man 3. But the problem is that it wasn't just the best, it was way too the best. Rush Jet completely broke the game, basically made it so that no platforming challenges ever needed to be attempted, because why would you need to attempt a platforming challenge when you can just fly over it with almost unlimited weapon energy? And once again, I'm going to go back to that kind of that falling back point that if it wasn't continued on in the series, then it probably wasn't done right the first time. And so they very much fixed Rush Jet in Mega Man 4 and beyond by making it less completely overpowered. Oh, that should have killed you, Bright Man. Another trick to this boss, he'll only use his Time Stopper, or Flash Stopper, I think it's called, ability based on how much health he has. So if, and it happens at certain markers, I think the 75% point, 50%, and the 25. So if you hit him once with a regular shot, and then use only powered-up shots for the rest of the fight, he won't ever use his Time Stopper ability. It's a neat little cheat. A little, like, depth to the fight that I like added in this game. So aside from the broken Rush Jet, Another thing that people might disagree with me on. Man, I really suck at finding the middle today. The dock stages. I hear from a lot of people that, you know, the ones who think that Mega Man 3 was the best or had the most to offer, they refer to the dock stages as a highlight. And those are, of course, the stages where you fight the Mega Man 2 bosses again. And admittedly, when I was a kid, I thought this was a cool idea. But looking back on it now, the dock stages are really lazy. And they're lazy in a number of ways. For one, they completely reuse the stages, of course. You go through 4 of the 8 stages that you already went through. Ooh, bad timing. And you refight bosses that they used in another game. And you think, okay, well, that's cool. You fight, you know, old bosses in a new game. You get more Mega Man 2. But really, if you want to play Mega Man 2, play Mega Man 2. There's no reason to reuse bosses from Mega Man 2 when they could have made 8 new bosses for you to fight. The only reason that you would want to do that is that it saves time. Why design 8 new bosses when you can just reuse 8 and people will think that it's awesome? Go, my dive missile! My erratic dive missile. So there's that with the bosses. But even more so... with the stages, I feel like there's gonna be some disappointment with it. I mean, if you don't like replaying the stages because it's just kind of the same old scenery with a slight twist and not even the best kind of stage design to it, then you'll feel like the dock stages are wasting your time. But even if you like the dock stages and you like replaying old stages, then you're still only getting 4 out of 8. Why only recreate 4 stages when you can have you play through all 8 with a neat little twist? I feel like whether you like it or not, you're getting half of a good idea with these dock stages. And that's not to mention the fact that they were completely frustrating and often had poor design flaws, like the awkward hit detection, and Jesus, that Woodman fight was completely imbalanced. Yeah, it's no fun. I don't like them. Same with the Force Rush Jets segments, and if you watch Game Grumps, then Aaron makes a good argument against those. But moving on from the dock stages, we have the Wily stages, which, of course, are also really bad in retrospect. They are the shortest Wily stages and the shortest Fortress stages of pretty much the entire series, and with the least amount of content. I think Wily 2 has something like 3 enemies in the entire stage, and then the rest are stage hazards that you can just fly over with the Broken Rush Jet, so it's hardly a stage at all. And then, of course, you fight a boss that is reused for Mega Man 1, the Yellow Devil. I hope I'm remembering this correctly, and that's actually Wily 2 and not Wily 3. But again, it's more reusing old content instead of offering you new content. It's lazy, it's uninspired, it's sloppy design. And really, that's all that Mega Man 3 is to me when I look at it these days. It's still fun to play, but when I think of all the ways that it could have been made better with new content, with better implementation of the slide, and with a better weapon set, it really is disappointing. And that's perhaps the best way to characterize Mega Man 3, other than calling it unfinished and lazy and all that. It's a disappointing game. It's still fun, but they could have done so much more. And you can say that about other games in the series as well. But I don't know, I feel it stands out more in Mega Man 3, where you have things like the ending music that gets cut off because they just didn't program it correctly, or the Fortress intro music that gets cut off because they didn't program it correctly. Oh, I was way off on that one. Or how it has the worst final boss in the entire Mega Man canon, bar none. I mean, it's just a bad fight that you can stand in one spot and not get hit by for the longest time, and that you kill with top spin, which is a joke. Not many good things to say about that. Speaking of things good to say, I forgot to mention Dustman's theme, one of my favorite songs in the franchise. And because it's so dark, it's so creepy, it's so kind of melodramatic, it just kind of strikes me emotionally, if that makes any sense. Now, Mega Man 4, the soundtrack took a bit of a departure from the rest of the series, whereas 2 and 3, not so much 1, but 2 and 3, and the ones that are most remembered for their soundtracks, really took a big inspiration from rock music, not rock man. This game took a lot more musical influence from blues music. You can hear it in kind of the harmonies and just kind of the melodic design, especially with songs like Toadman Stage, and there's a lot of harmonic minor influences in some of these stages as well. And I like that. I like the blues influence. It's different. It's not exactly what you'd expect to hear coming directly from Mega Man 3, but it's certainly not bad. I appreciate a lot of tracks in this game. There's some great melodies, especially in this tune. I love the super jazz influence in Toadman's theme, and the kind of minor melody of Dustman's theme. It's stuff that really resonates with me. Now, in terms of the Mega Buster, and this is something that people are split on as well. A lot of people like the Mega Man games pre-Mega Buster, but I personally love it. I mean, it adds more depth to the gameplay. I do like how they made it so that the charge sound doesn't persist in Mega Man 9. 9 and 10 with Proto Man's gameplay. It was just a little minor thing that needed to be broken up. But the Mega Buster adds so much because it puts timing into a bigger perspective in the game design. You can design more enemies that have invulnerability and that rely on you to time your shots very carefully. It creates this trade-off between wanting to shoot really fast or save up a burst of energy that kind of puts you at a disadvantage when engaging enemies. And in this game in particular, one of the things that is implemented very well is the hit points of the enemies. You'll notice that a lot of enemies are not killed in one Mega Buster shot. So you can't just kind of save up a one-time use Mega Buster and then boom, you kill all the enemies, which was a big problem with Mega Man 5. It doesn't make it so that the Mega Buster is overpowered, is what I'm saying. It's still a gamble. There's a reason to use it, and there's a benefit to using it, but it's not the be-all, end-all of the game. It doesn't completely break the game. And one of the reasons it doesn't is because this game has, in mine and many... oh, Jesus, come on, Pharaoh Man, make this tough. I like dodging you. But only when I do it right. Oh no! Okay, never mind, I don't like dodging you. Go back to being easy. Hold on, okay. I have to have it this time. That looks perfect. Many people would agree with me, I found online anyway. God damn it. That the weapon set in Mega Man 4 is the best of at least the NES games. Very, very, very balanced. And as I mentioned, I think this game is very well balanced. But there are so many different utilities to the weapons. I mean, you have Ring Boomerang, which pierces and has a chance to attack multiple times. You have Dive Missile, which is homes in but is kind of erratic in its movement. You have Skull Barrier, which is a brilliant barrier, and there are a lot of ways to use it in this game as a defensive weapon to just kind of rush through areas. You have Flash Stopper, which is one of the coolest items in the game, in the series. Dust Crusher, which can do multiple hits, is very powerful and has a kind of weird spread to it. Drill Bomb, very powerful and can self-remote. Toadman, an all-screen clearing attack with a delay, so it's not completely OP like some weapons. I don't know what I'm even thinking of in that case. And it pierces as well. And then you have Pharaoh Shot, which admittedly is probably the most versatile of the weapons. You can charge it, you can fire in not 8 directions, 6 directions? 6 directions. And it's a little glitched, unfortunately, but again, it doesn't completely defeat the purpose of the other ones like Metal Blade does. Every weapon has great use to it and is useful in many different situations. Woo! I love doing that. It really is it was the best of the classic series weapon sets, at least until 9 came out, which took a different design philosophy. Instead of making 8 weapons that were all balanced and all had weaknesses to kind of balance out their strengths, it just made 8 weapons that were basically Metal Blade and that were completely overpowered, and you could use any one of them for the entire game without using the others, basically, and it would break the game. Which clearly I'm a little bit bitter about. I much prefer the balanced weapon set of Mega Man 4 over Mega Man 9, but that's another point to make entirely. But another, like, the Mega Buster is something that I really wish they didn't get rid of, especially in Mega Man 9 and 10, when they jump back to that kind of Mega Man 2 style of game design. It's implemented really well here, especially with the enemies. Enemies like this, where you have to save up a really good shot and you can kind of zip by a boss, or you could rapid fire, and it's just another way to fight it. Ah! Wasn't quite ready for that. And then, of course, to kind of counter the criticisms I had of Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4 has 2 fortress stages instead of 1. Or 2 fortresses, rather I say. So instead of replaying dock stages and reusing material, you have completely new material. It's another just really... I don't know, it's a good way to implement new content instead of reusing old content, which Mega Man 3 relied too much on. And I'm going to have to make a little side point here. I really like this encounter, especially because it does something that this game does really well, in that it makes you fight different mini-bosses with slightly changed stage hazards. Mega Man 9 did this really well in Concrete Man stage, when you fight those elephant bosses, where the first time you fight them on a flat kind of surface, and then you fight them with the ladder, and then you fight them with the pits. So it keeps switching up the fight just subtly. So we fought this snail boss above, and then now we fight him with the water pushing us in one direction and another direction, and making it difficult to jump underneath. Completely changes the dynamic of the fight. Similarly, in Ringman stage, those hula hoop bosses... The hula hoop bosses, the first time you fight one, it's kind of at a safe distance where if you stand right at the edge of the wall and you don't have to even jump, its attacks will miss you. But you get kind of used to the timing of how it works, and then when you fight it the next time, it's closer to you. So there isn't as much of a safe zone, and you really have to put that timing to good use, the timing that the game basically taught you when you fought it the first time. It's that kind of clever stage design and enemy design that I really appreciate in this series in general, and just one of the many cases in which it stands out in this game. Now, as I mentioned, this game fixed Rush Jet, so to speak. It made it far more balanced, far more, less bullshit, doesn't break the game. And it works the way that the utility should. It's kind of an upgraded item 2 or whatever it was in Mega Man 2. Now, I didn't say that this game was without its flaws, and this is, of course, one of them. The Toadman fight, I don't want to cheese it. You can completely cheese it and just use the Mega Buster and stand still and beat this guy. I prefer to do the rapid fire because it's more exciting. I can slide around and he jumps, and it's actually a good boss fight, or at least a fun boss fight. But this was one of the weird things that I feel like they just didn't test the timing right, or it was an idea that was a little half-baked. And it's an easy fix. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they made this boss fight so easy, but it's a minor complaint. It doesn't break the game. It's just one bad boss fight that isn't as much of a downside to the game as in Mega Man 2 with the boss fight that kind of ruined everything. And makes the game come to a grinding halt for new players. It's just, a half-baked boss idea, unfortunately. But another thing that this game added was the hidden items, which is something that, again, persisted with the series. A sign of a good idea, something that keeps coming up again and again. And the wire adapter is really cool utility. The balloon adapter is basically just item 1 from Mega Man 2. I think it's item 1. I can't remember. It's been a while. But again, they just subtly change the way that you can approach different things in this game, and they're not kind of bonus items like... thank you. Like the rush adapters that you get from beating bosses. It's something that you can look for, and that excitement you get when you find a hidden item makes it all worthwhile. If they had something like that in Mega Man 3, maybe would have saved it for me in some way or another. I'm sorry, I'm harping on that game a little bit too much. Again, very kind of bluesy inspired minor melody to this track that I really appreciate for the soundtrack. Let's show off some weapons. Toadman! Always very useful in this room. Oh, and thank you. Because it can kill those enemies even when they're otherwise invincible. And of course I'll talk more about Mega Man 4 as we're going along, because that's clearly the game that we're playing. But let's move on a little bit to Mega Man 5, which, may be surprising to say, is probably my favorite of the classic Mega Man games. And I know that's weird to hear after I claim that this is the best, but I differentiate between best and favorite very often. When I say best, I'm thinking more of a design standpoint, which is the one with the fewest flaws, and for favorite, you know, that's completely subjective. Just something that really strikes you as something that you like. And Mega Man 5 just has so many fun gimmick stages to it that are fun to play. They're exciting, they change the gameplay dramatically, and they change the way that you approach obstacles and such. I'll do this the hard way. For example, Gravity Man Stage, a huge fan favorite. Everybody loves Gravity Man Stage. I'll keep this equipped in case I fall over. Gravity Man Stage is great. Gyro Man Stage has really neat gimmicks to it. Wave Man Stage has you riding a jet ski that like never happened again, unfortunately. Although that was really cool. I kind of wish they kept that. Just some really cool, unique level designs there. Whoops, I don't have anything useful equipped there. Drill Bomb! No! Thank you. And they don't get too gimmicky. Like, I don't know. Wave Man Stage is really cool, it's very unique. It's not something that we so much see again. I mean, they do rider stages in the X series a lot, but it's not completely... is this even the weapon I'm supposed to be using? I don't know. It's not so out there that, like maybe Gigabolt Mana Wars stage in Mega Man X8, so that it feels like it's from a different game altogether or a different series. It feels like a Mega Man level still, but it's just so unique, so different. Really stands out. Oh no! Man, I am sucking on this guy. I just thought he looked like a butterfly. But once again, I mentioned that Mega Man 5 is kind of a crippling design flaw, and maybe crippling is a harsh word, but the problem with Mega Man 5, and I think the reason why people look back not so fondly on the Mega Buster in general is that it completely imbalanced the hit points of enemies. You'll notice there are a lot of enemy types in Mega Man 5 that either die in one regular Buster hit or one Mega Buster hit. And what that does to the stage design is that it makes it so that there's very little reason to use anything but the regular Buster or the Mega Buster. I mean, why use the weapons when basically every enemy can be taken out in the same way? And they improved the Mega Buster. They made it larger in terms of its like how the area that it affects. Like the projectile is different. I mean, I don't know why I'm stumbling over those words. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think it charges up faster. It feels like it anyway after playing Mega Man 4 right now. But you'll find that there are far too many enemies that line themselves up in a row so that you can take, 5 of them out with one good Mega Buster shot. And this isn't necessarily a bad design choice. I mean, again, it's rewarding that patient timing, that thinking carefully about your shots. But I don't know, it just doesn't work as much in practice as it does in theory in Mega Man 5. It simply is too easy of a game. And that's something that you'll hear from a lot of players, that Mega Man 5 is the easiest of the Mega Man, at least the NES games. Well, actually, no, maybe just the whole series in general. And part of that is because of not so much the stage design, I feel, as much as it is the Buster design. The changes they made to the Buster and the way that they made enemies die easier. Like in this game, you'll notice that there are a lot of enemies, as I mentioned before, that don't die in one Buster shot. They'll take maybe a Buster shot and then one regular shot. So they have, 4 hit points, or whatever you call it. And that makes it so that you kind of encounter them more directly, like they have more of a chance to attack. Whereas in Mega Man 5, so many enemies die quickly that you don't even see what they do. They just show up and then they're dead. So you don't really have those opportunities where enemies can kind of gang up on you or really make you be aware of the surroundings and the way that you encounter them, because they just die too quickly. Which is a shame, because another aspect of Mega Man 5 that gets talked about a lot is that it has a bad weapon set. You know, it has a very poor weapon set. There's no reason to use the weapons because the Mega Buster kind of imbalances the game. It's way too OP. But what sucks about that is that the weapon set in Mega Man 5 is actually really good. I know it's weird to pimp out another user's videos, but if you've ever watched Gemini Laser and Nathaniel Hoover play Mega Man 5, he does it really well in showing off the things that you can do with the weapon set, because you have really cool weapons that, again, are very balanced, like in Mega Man 4. Maybe not quite to the level of perfection that is in this one, but everyone has a good utility. I mean, Water Wave travels on the ground, but it's a shot eraser. It can be used as a shield. Star Crash is a very effective barrier that can also be used as a projectile in a pinch. Crystal Eye can be used for some really effective shot patterns and taking out enemies that are in difficult to hit areas. Power Stone! People talk about Power Stone being a really shitty weapon because it's kind of difficult to use. It has a weird hit arc, but I learned this more from playing it myself. I did kind of a Power Stone focused challenge, so I tried to use Power Stone as often as possible, and it's actually really effective. And part of the reason is because, as I mentioned before, and kind of a downside of the game, is that so many enemies die in one hit. So it doesn't matter how strong Power Stone is, its spread arc is really useful in levels where you're surrounded by a lot of enemies that die in one hit, because one use of Power Stone will take out a whole bunch of them. Oh, I guess we'll go after me. There we go. And then you have stuff like Charge Kick, which is the best weapon in the series, in my opinion. I mean, people don't really realize it, but when you use Charge Kick, you are invincible. Like, it's full-on invincibility. You can charge right through any enemy, even if you're not hitting it. So it's perfect for speed running or any kind of pacifist playthroughs. Really one of the best weapons in the entire series, easily. But yeah, I highly recommend that if you ever play Mega Man 5 and want to play it a little bit differently than you're used to, try to use the weapons as often as possible. And you'll find that they're actually very useful. There are a lot of cool, unique ways that you can use them, and a lot of rooms in the game are kind of designed around specific weapons, specifically Crystal Eye and Power Stone and stuff like that. But again, you know, it doesn't work quite the way that it should, and the reason for that is being the Mega Buster. It makes the game a little too easy. And I think another one of the reasons it makes it too easy is that I believe Mega Man 5 had like it was imbalanced. I don't know how else to get through this section. If somebody could tell me, that'd be nice. I believe that it made it so that I had the highest percentage chance to drop lives in Mega Man 5 as opposed to any other Mega Man game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe I read that somewhere, which again is going to make the game a little bit more forgiving than the others. Quick note about this stage. This is one of the few scrolling stages in any game I've played that I actually enjoy. And on GameFAQs, when Mega Man 10 was, you know, the biggest new thing, and there were a whole bunch of people still talking about the Mega Man Classic series, I believe this stage won a series poll of best stage in the series. Only one stage per game, of course, nominated. Or not nominated, like each game had a poll for the stages, and then the winner went off against all the other games. And I believe this one won, which is quite surprising because people tend to not like auto-scrolling stages. But this one, I don't know. There's the colors are really cool. The music is really interesting. The pace is it keeps you on your toes. I feel they could have done more with it, but alas, we'll take what we can get. And I love doing this. Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, walk it on the air. And of course, something that neglects mentioning for Mega Man 5, it did actually have a decent attempt at story. I mean, Mega Man 4 did as well, but Mega Man 5 took it a little bit further on that, especially giving Proto Man a reason to exist, which is nice, because he didn't really do anything in Mega Man 3, and you're like, what? Breakman? What the hell's going on? Eek. And the music has a lot of catchy songs in Mega Man 5. But again, it's another soundtrack that you can see that the series kind of departed from its rock roots. And I don't really know how to put it. It kind of becomes more poppy, more upbeat, and not in kind of the techno, like, inspired Mega Man 2 soundtrack kind of way. But Mega Man 5, it still is probably my favorite. It is just so fun to play. I really love a lot of the stages. Gravity Man stage is still like a top stage for the series. It's just super fun. Moving on then. Moving on to Mega Man 6, which a lot of people say is the point in the series when they started running out of ideas. Not gonna disagree. I will say this, Mega Man 6 was visually stunning. I really love the amount of detail that went into the stage design, the background design, the enemy design, and it's really disappointing when you think back to it now that they kind of ditched all of that when Mega Man 9 came out in order to cater to all the people who really liked Mega Man 2, I guess, and the plain backgrounds. I remember seeing a thing online about how Splash Woman stage originally had really cool sprite art in the background of like sunken ships, and then they got rid of that and just replaced it with plain blue because they thought it would look more classic, and that's really disappointing. I mean, Mega Man 6 really set a bar for great detailed backgrounds, and then they just threw that away. Which is a shame, because that was probably the best thing that Mega Man 6 has going for it, aside from its rather charming soundtrack. Again, really different. There are a lot more slower tracks, like Blizzard Man's theme song, and more really peppy, poppy soundtrack tunes like Windman Stage. But it's different, it's charming, very memorable, and that, of course, that credits medley is a highlight still today. Another thing that Mega Man 6 does really well is the branching pathways, which I guess we first really see in Mega Man 4, although in Mega Man 4 most of the branching pathways are dead ends. They kind of lead to little bonus areas, which isn't a bad thing, you know, it's a neat little reward for exploration, but yeah, Mega Man 6 really took it to a new level and added a lot more depth by these completely branching pathways that made it so that you could visit a stage twice and have a very different experience each time, based on what weapons you have that might open up a secret path, or what utilities might send you off in a different direction. It's really cool, and I'm glad that's something that they kept up with in the series. Ow! Kawasaki, you jerk. Oh, I thought he was going to die for me. A neat little fake boss. I like that they made this arena kind of tight quarters. It feels like you're cramped by his movement and his shot pattern, even if he's not the toughest boss. In terms of the downsides of Mega Man 6, the level design had a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, they did have the branching paths, but I feel like they could have even taken that a little step further. Had more viable branching paths, better implementation of the weapons. Again, it was kind of a weak weapon set in 6. It was both unbalanced, as in Mega Man 2, and kind of unoriginal, as in Mega Man 3, where a lot of them were just kind of projectiles that you fire forward, or were really difficult to use and were hard to implement correctly. And the suits. I mean, the suits were a cool idea. I'm talking, of course, about the Rush suits, the Power Adapter, and the Jet Adapter. But I mean, they could have used it better. There weren't really a lot of times when the suits were necessary, or were all that practical, or were all that useful. They unlocked a couple of hidden pathways here or there, but I feel like there could have been more utility out of the suits. A lot of missed opportunities in Mega Man 6, especially in its level design. I wish I could kind of play it and point out some spots that you know, it felt like there were half-baked ideas. And like I said, the weapon set left a lot to be desired. So many projectiles that shoot forward. Something that you might not notice on first play, but every weapon in Mega Man 6 makes the same regular fire sound, like this sound. And that's lame. I mean, it may seem like a small thing, but it adds so much charm when the weapons make different sounds. I mean, think of Brightman. It has a completely unique sound effect to it. You know, Drill Bomb has a unique sound effect. Pharaoh Shot, completely unique sound that you don't hear any other time in the series. Ring Boomerang, a unique sound. Oh, Balloon doesn't... Okay, fine, that was bad. I meant to hit on Dust. My controller slipped. Shut up. So that's another thing that, I don't know, Mega Man 6 kind of sucked on. And another thing that really made it feel like they were running out of ideas were the bosses themselves. Specifically the boss patterns. And one of the problems I have with the boss patterns, and that you'll really notice on replay, is that all of the bosses basically have 2 moves, and one of them is jump. Which makes for some really lame encounters. I'm looking at you, Plant Man, Night Man, Wind Man. I guess he doesn't jump, he hovers, but you know what I mean. Hey, speaking of cool, unique stage gimmicks, I love this stage. I really do. If you haven't figured out the gimmick already, it's that the only enemies in this stage are Mets. And you fight, what, 5 different kinds of Mets in this stage? Which are just so charming and so cool. And it's kind of a silly idea that you would never think that they would do. But it works so well, and this is such a fun, memorable stage. And it's one of the few water sections in this game. Hello, Yoku Blocks. And that's something that I should point out as a flaw in this game. The Rush Marine adapter. I love the Rush Marine adapter. It's one of my favorites to use. And yet there's basically no reason to use it in this game. There are only, what, 3 stages in the game that have water in it? Maybe 4? You get Marine adapter in one of the stages with water. So that takes out a third of its utility already. I feel like there should be more water sections to make use of the Rush Marine. I mean, that's why they got rid of the Rush Marine ever since this game. I guess they just didn't want to make enough water levels, but that's a shame. I really like the water levels. I like what it does for the platforming. Ooh. Pardon me. But yeah, Mega Man 6, it doesn't do as much necessarily wrong, but it's just a very uninspired game. A lot of the bosses in particular feel like stuff that you've already seen before in other games. I believe one of the fortresses in that game... Ow! Oh no, that hurts. Oh, this is a bad start. One of the Ooh, Jesus, I'm terrible. One of the fortresses in Mega Man 6 apparently looks like way too similar in design to one of the ones in Mega Man 5, like they just copied and pasted. Oh, come on! I waited so long for him to jump, and he tricked me. Oh, shoot, I forgot there's no checkpoint before the boss on these stages. Oh well. Was that my first death? No, I died on Drill Man stage. Oh well. I guess it was never going to be a no-death run anyway. Whatever. One of the reasons I actually picked Mega Man 4... Oh, thank you. Aside from it being, you know, my personal... my pick for most balanced of the series... was that I just wanted a game that I knew well enough that I could run through it and just play it at my own pace while being able to talk kind of complicatedly over it. I mean, I'm trying to remember so much about these older games and my critical analysis of it, if you would. And I guess moving on in that regard, Mega Man 7! I didn't like it, but probably for all the reasons that you can already predict. I don't like the visual style. I mean, the colors are nice, but they made Mega Man way too big. The levels feel cramped like one of the Game Boy games. I don't know. There are too many weapons with a delay. I hated the weapon set in 7. I feel like instead of making it so that every weapon has a strength but also a weakness to not make them overpowered, they just made 8 weapons that all kind of sucked and were detrimental to use. Like, why is there a delay on the Scorch Wheel? I don't know, but it makes it a very difficult weapon to use. I was trying to lure him into a short hop. And Noise Crush isn't really effective unless you use it off of a wall, so you kind of have to plan that in advance. Wild Coil is kind of strange to use. The burst item is strange to use. Slash Claw can like plant you on the ground if sometimes. Freeze Cracker is pretty cool. I won't say anything bad about that. But like Junk Shield, there's a delay when you use it. Why can't it just activate immediately like all the other barriers in the series? It's that split second that makes it cumbersome of a weapon to use. And it's a design choice that I can't really get behind. And another personal point, and I know this feels kind of hypocritical or maybe counterintuitive, but I felt Mega Man 7 just took the amount of items and the amount of hidden items to an extreme. You pretty much have to replay every single level to get all the stuff in there. I mean, in some ways that's a good thing, and some people can argue it's a good thing because there's hidden stuff in every level. You know, that's cool. We can search for stuff. But I hate having 2 pages to my menu. I absolutely hate it. This is what a menu should look like in the series. This is perfect, you know? I have all my weapons exactly where I need them. I shouldn't have to go down to the corner, hit next to go to the next page, and, you know, fumble across a menu to get to get to whatever item that I'm trying to get to. Oh shoot, I forgot to make that disappear. Hold on, I'm gonna cheese this. No, cheesing it. Ah, come on, cheese it. No, I'm not cheesing it correctly. Dang it! I usually cheese that thing off the screen. Oh well. So yeah, I cannot get behind the how many items there are in Mega Man 7, and some of them are so kind of stupidly hidden, like stuff that you have to find with the search, whatever. Or I guess you can buy them from the shop or whatever. Not a big fan of bolts in general. I don't like the direction that put the series into, because then it created this whole farming aspect of the games, farming bolts, and nobody likes to farm. I don't like it. Another thing about Mega Man 7, the sounds. Sounds are awful. Hate the sound design. The soundtrack itself, in terms of its composition, is actually not that bad, but as Nathaniel Hoover recently put it, it's like they replaced all of the instrument sounds with a screeching cat orchestra. The music is just really hard to listen to. There's a lot of stuff in the super high register that just sounds awful. And yet, and this might surprise you, but Mega Man 7 has probably my pick for the best song in the entire classic series. And that is, of course, Wily Stage 1. I absolutely adore that song. I think it's better than, you know, the Mega Man 3 opening or the Mega Man 2 Wily Stage 1. It's just so dark and ominous, and it builds atmosphere in such a cool way, and it's got this really awesome slap bass sound to it, and this really awesome rockin', shredding guitar sound to it. It is just a really cool song. And if you're not too familiar with the soundtrack, I really recommend that you give that song a listen. Wily Stage 1, Mega Man 7, just one of the best songs, if not the best, in the entire classic series, in the entire Mega Man canon, in my opinion. I just love it. Love it! But one of the other things that, of course, really sucks in Mega Man 7 is the final boss. And, you know, pardon my language, but fuck that final boss. Oh god, I hate that final boss. Talk about making, like, something needlessly difficult. Oh sure, let's make the final boss have 2 forms, or 3 forms, I think, all of which are really difficult to hit, and one that takes, like, chip damage from only 1 or 2 weapons, and has almost impossible to dodge attacks. Oh god, I don't know how anybody can make it through that fight without using like all of the E-tanks. And most of the people I know end up having to farm E-tanks, and that's never fun. Dang it, I am sucking with my timing on this boss. I actually really like the kind of gimmick of taking regular enemies and turning them into bosses for stages, like we just saw here with the big kind of gumball dispenser machines. It's kind of taking something old and putting a new spin on it without just a lazy rehash like in Mega Man 3. And obviously you can, you know, you make something look imposing, and you get that neat little callback, like, oh hey, it's like those other things that I fought, but with a twist. With a twist. So yeah, Mega Man 7, you know, I'm not really fond of it, and that's one of the few cases where the level design really stands out to me as the problem with that game. Mostly because it's just too cramped. It feels like a Mega Man Game Boy game when really it has no excuse to. And Mega Man 8, which, hey, that's how you do next-gen graphics for the series. I mean, that game looks fantastic. And it's still got pretty awesome stage design. Or maybe erratic stage design, because some of the stage design is really cool, some of it's kind of crappy. Swordman stage always stands out to me as one of the best in the series. And one of the best justifications of splitting up the bosses into sets of 4. Because the first half of the stage is this kind of cool, like, use all of the weapons from the first 4 bosses as tools. So, like, you have the part of the stage where you use the clown claw or whatever. What is it called? Slash claw? No, not slash claw. Clown grabber? I don't remember what the weapons are called. But when you use it to, like, swing from some parts, and then you have to maybe freeze that fire from later in the level with Frostman's weapon and stuff like that. I love seeing weapons used as tools. Mega Man 9 did this really well, especially in its Wily stages, and it should be praised for it. And then the second half of the level is just really cool. But then it has some really uninspired stage designs. I mean, why are 2 of the Wily stages just a sled stage and a shoot-'em-up stage? Like, there's hardly any stage design there. It's just kind of like, oh, put a pit here, put a pit there, put an enemy spawning off the side of the stage here. Like, I don't know. It felt very uninspired. And Mega Man 8 is another one of those games that is too easy. It just is. The bosses seem to take way too much damage. They're too easy to stun. Oh, that's something I forgot to mention in Mega Man 7. Stunning bosses, I wish that didn't become a thing, because it makes it so that it's not fun to use boss weapons against enemies anymore. I mean, it's awesome when, you know, even when I'm kicking the crap out of a boss and am exploding it in some way, like I am with Brightman right now, it's still exciting. I still have to dodge, I still have to jump around. But then you have stuff like, in Mega Man 7, Junkman, when you use his weakness on him, he just becomes a complete pushover. You barely have to think about it when you fight him. And just adding boss stun just completely imbalanced a lot of the boss fights for the rest of the series. I wish that was something that never happened. Yeah, not much to say about Mega Man 8. Once again, it uses that whole bolt system that I'm not quite a fan of, but and it's overall easy, but it's fun. It's one of the ones that I'll always play through if I just feel like, oh come on, jerk. If I just feel like playing through a Mega Man game and not having to worry about it, or not having to stress about the difficulty, because it's a really easy game, but it's still engaging, it's still fun. I don't have too many terrible things to say about it, although it isn't one of the better games, I will admit that much. Rockman and Forte, or Mega Man and Bass, as some of you might know it as. I really like that game. This is gonna sound weird. So, I mentioned that I hate how many items there are in Mega Man 7 because of the 2-page screen and whatnot, and how much stuff there is to collect in the levels. And yet, I love collecting CDs in Rockman and Forte. Now, the reason for the distinction is that it's not a change to the gameplay in Rockman and Forte, or Mega Man and Bass, whatever you want to call it. I call it Rockman and Forte, because that's how I played it first. It's just an extra bonus thing. You know, you collect these little CDs, and you get these neat little touches of, I hit my controller wrong, and now it's thrown me off completely. Just these neat little data discs that are just fun to find, and like you can search through secret levels or secret parts of levels and stuff like that. It's like a little Easter egg hunt. It's not necessary. It doesn't change how the game is played, so you don't feel like an asshole for missing something like a big weapon or whatever like is hidden in Mega Man 7. It's just a neat little fun thing for people who like to collect stuff. And it's a small distinction, I know, but I'm making that distinction between Mega Man 7 and Rockman and Forte in this case. Again, I'm not going to cheese this guy because I like sliding around him. This is just a fun, engaging fight. But yeah, Rockman and Forte, goddamn, it's hard. Goddamn. No E-tanks, really ludicrous stages like King 2. That's probably the hardest stage in the entire series. Jesus. Oh my god, I cannot stand it. But I don't know. I guess it adds to that sense of rewardingness when you actually can beat it, which I can. I do. I played it enough when I was younger to be able to handle it nowadays. Actually, just the other day, not yesterday, but 2 days ago, I played Mega Man 10 for the first time in a while. And I completed that game when it came out, of course. I was ecstatic when it did. And I got all the achievements, or whatever you want to call it. I played it on the Wii, of course, because that's, I don't know, the NES controller is like how it should be played. Whoops. Something go off the other side of the screen? Anyway, what was I saying? Right, and I was thrown off by how difficult that game was. Like, I was dying left, right, and center, and I know it had been a while since I had played, and I was a little out of practice, but, I mean, I'm out of practice for this, and I can still hold my own with it still being kind of challenging, but without being ridiculous, whereas I felt like Mega Man 10 was almost unbalanced. And then I thought about it, and I feel that one of the biggest problems with Mega Man 9, well, less so with 9, but more with 10, in terms of the difficulty, is that the games were designed around the slide and the charge. I mean, they have to be, because you have two playable characters, so to balance the kind of, you know, being able to play as Proto Man with his abilities, you have to take that into account when you're designing the stages. So, even if it was just in the back of the minds of the designers, they designed Mega Man 10 with the charge shot and the slide in mind. But then, if you play as Mega Man, you don't have either of those, and you're at a disadvantage against a lot of the enemies. Oh no! Because what you'll notice in Mega Man 10 is that there are so many enemies that just move so much faster than you, and have such a natural advantage against you because of their movement speed, or their attack speed, or there are times when there's just so much on the screen that it's difficult to dodge. Like in like those locker enemies in Strike Command stage. Jesus, those parts were the hardest when I was playing through recently. And it would be made bearable if you could slide. Less so the charge, whatever, but the sliding I felt was really necessary to make the gameplay fair. And you can only get that as Proto Man. Again, one of the reasons that I really wish that they didn't go for that whole Mega Man 2 design where they got rid of the charge and the slide. Not only because it removes depth from the games, but because I feel like they forgot about it completely when they were designing the levels. The levels don't feel like they were designed like Mega Man 2. They feel like they were designed like Mega Man 4. And when you don't have the same abilities as Mega Man 4, then there's that incongruency that completely throws off the challenge spike in the game. But still, you know, there's some cool things in Mega Man 10. The levels are 5 times as long as anything in the other classic games, so you get more content. Yeah, okay, let's switch my focus to talking about this game. So, it took me forever to beat Mega Man 4, and one of the reasons was this boss here. I would always make it to this boss, and the only way I knew how to hurt it was with the wire adapter, which makes this awful sound, and is tough to hit with, and at best you can only get him down to half health. So I would get him down to half health, and then I would have no idea what to do. I would try using Rush, but I would get my ass kicked, even using all my E-tanks. And then one day, my sister, the same sister who found the wire adapter, was again playing the game and was like, whatever, I don't care, stop kind of paying attention, and started to rapid fire the drill bomb. Oh shit, I didn't fill that up. Oh shit, I didn't fill that up. God damn it. I forgot to fill up the drill bomb. I didn't realize I was going to need it. Oh no! Well, I guess I'm going to choose this anyway. But yeah, the drill bomb you can remote detonate, and I didn't know that before. So that really got in the way of fighting this boss, because it's basically his weakness. Oh, come on! Come on! Dang it. Oh no, slide. Oh, this is going to be bad. Okay, let's see what I can do. I'm gonna have to use some E-tanks. Damn it! Oh, there goes my no E-tank run. Okay, hold on, I got this. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Damn it! Oh, where does it start me? It starts me nowhere near. Oh no! Oh, this is bad. How am I gonna beat him? Damn it! I may have screwed this up a little bit. All right, balloon adapter to the rescue, I guess. Oh well, this didn't quite go as planned. I guess that's what happens when you're talking about the entire Mega Man series instead of focusing on what you're playing. Whatever. I can still do this. But yeah, one of the most memorable things for this game for me is, of course, the really awesome set of Fortress bosses. I mean, the mobile skull machine is so iconic, and I mean, Wily's had a skull machine every single game since then. I think that I can remember anyway. And it all started here. And this thing looks threatening. I mean, just look at the giant Hadokens that it shoots. How am I gonna do this? Crud. Okay. Alright, and now the hard way. If there is some other way to fight this guy... Oh, wait. Oh, that's not gonna work. 'Cause I can't switch to... Oh, this is bad. This is bad, everybody. Whoop. Oh, no. Oh, no. How am I gonna do this? Oh, this works. Oh, this actually kind of works. Oh, not if I... What happened there? I jumped right on him. Oh, no. Oh, no. Am I going to have to game over and come back with more Drill Bomb? This is going to be really embarrassing. Oh, well. There's got to be some other way to do this. I must be missing something. Maybe I can aim Pharaoh Shot? I honestly never experimented with this boss after I figured out that you could aim that you could remote detonate the Drill Bomb. Alright everybody, I'm about to learn something. Or maybe not. Damn it, why'd I have to get so many lives? Ow. Great. Waste more health. Oh jeez, I know I'm gonna run out of Ring Boomerang. Can I... Okay, I can still hurt this guy normally. Wow, I feel like I'm a first-time Mega Man player now. Because I did not anticipate running out of weapon energy. Okay. 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 Hammer time. Nope. What if I charge it? Nope. Dust Crusher. Robots in disguise. Toad! You know, I know that can kill Wily when he's trying to escape, but I guess not otherwise. Okay, that's not gonna hit him. Bright's not gonna do anything. Oh, can I freeze his projectiles? Nope, that will only screw me. This is bad, everybody. Oh well. Rush Jet! Let's do this! This is a bad idea. Oh man, this is such a cheesy way to do it. Remember when I said that I had an informed opinion and that I've like played this game to death and was awesome at it? I take it all back. I'm a bad man. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Ooh, that was actually kind of cool. Oh, and then I screwed that up. I'm gonna run out of energy for this. Oh no. Oh wait, okay, I need to make him disappear. Oh, that works. Okay. Am I gonna do this? Am I really gonna do this? Oh, I'm gonna be so mad if I actually fail this. Gotta play it super safe. Okay, not so safe that I'm not gonna dodge attacks. Come on, Mac. Alright. I need to conserve my Rush Jet energy. The Rush Jet isn't as... Oh no, this is bad. Oh, this is so bad. Man, I wish they had invented weapon tanks by this point in the series. That would really help me out. Alright, come on. Come on. Okay. Okay. Well, this is starting to get suspenseful, because I actually don't know if I can do this now. Without my... Oh, no! Okay, okay, okay. One more E-tank. Cannot F this up. I'm about to F this up. Oh, I'm... Oh! Shit. Oh, this is not how I wanted this to end. Oh, can I turn off the stream now and then just come back when I've caught up? Damn it! Well, to be fair, this is a lack of foresight, but this is a pretty big flaw in the game that I can cover now, because I have virtually no way of beating this boss. Time to game over myself and start again. Which means I'm gonna have to beat all the bosses again. Oh well. Hey, maybe this time I'll actually fight them with the weapons that they're weak to. I didn't get to show that off. And that's actually one of the things about me. When I played the game, I almost never used the weapons before. Which is crappy, because the weapons add so much and they really change the flavor of the game. And like I said, playing through Mega Man 5 with a weapon-only playthrough is actually super, super fun. And I highly recommend it to anybody because it just changes so much of how you think to approach different situations when you have a different weapon set at your disposal. But when I casually play, I just kind of go through the game normally. Use my Mega Buster almost exclusively, unless there are bosses that are, only weak to certain weapons. And for the most part, the series has kind of gone away from that. Only slightly, actually, now that I think about it. I guess that's something that the series never really got away from, that... everything's back to full. That all of the... what am I trying to say here? Yeah, that all of the final bosses are always, like, weak to one thing, or weak to a couple of things. For example, this final boss is weak to Ring Boomerang and Pharaoh Shot. Maybe something else that I'm forgetting. But, there's stuff like Top Spin and Surge Snake in Mega Man 3. Mega Man 6, not so much. Mega Man 5, not so much. But Mega Man 7, of course, only a few weapons that are really practical to use in that final boss fight, and I hate that final boss fight. Same with Rockman and Forte. I believe the final boss is only weak to, like, one or two weapons. But let's test my memory. I don't remember where everybody is. I'm gonna say Drill Man up here? Yeah! I mean, it's not really much of testing my memory, because I literally just played this, but whatever. And Drill Man, weak to the dive, which actually does some wonky things in this fight. I love the way it moves when it's homing in on the enemies. Especially when he's chasing you and shooting like this. Oh, I guess it didn't do any of the fun stuff, but when it does fun stuff, it's fun. Get him! Get him! Oh no! Gotcha! And I gotta remember, I don't need to save that for anything. Who's in here? Brightman. Yeah, I knew that. What are you talking about? I didn't forget. Who is weak to? It's been a while. Toad! Like I said, I don't... I am so used to fighting these bosses with just the Mega Buster that I completely forgot about their weaknesses. Oh no! Don't jump on me. Yeah, I'll take that over him jumping on you. If he jumps on you, it takes so much damage. Like I said. Yeah! Frozen in the air. Let me go. Thank you. Skullman! Who again is gonna wait for me. I can't remember if for some reason, like, you'd think that since he uses a barrier, his weakness would be something that could go through the barrier, which seems to be the case with other barrier-based bosses in later games, but not the case here. I guess that was an idea they just kind of I don't know, they ironed out as the series went on. Boom. Dive. Yeah! Now this is one of the bosses that fighting him with his weakness is actually pretty tricky, because you risk the hit detection so much. So I usually like to jump up in the air and then kind of come down on him like that. It's a little bit safer. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just really cool at it? I don't know. I remember it being a lot tougher. Dustman. Toadman. Damn it. Alright. Oh, this is a boss that I'm... Fool me once, me. Shame on me, me. I'm not gonna waste my drill bomb on this guy now. I guess I could show you what happens if you fight him with the Mega Buster. He starts to do his rain dance, and then you just stop him. It sucks. Although, I'm not getting the full Mega Buster. Why is that? Maybe my controller's being a little wonky. Oh well. See, this is one of the biggest problems with the game. And it doesn't, you know, it's not that dramatic, but it certainly does remove what could be a really awesome boss fight from the equation. Alright, now you are definitely Dustman. And I'm rang on the first form, so you're getting ranged, bro. Yeah. Well, that was tough. Yeah, another one of the problems with this game, sometimes the boss can get kind of locked in a pattern and that isn't all that challenging, but I guess that happens with all of the Mega Man games. Whoops! Forgot how to fight this guy. Ah! Oh, I forgot that firing off the big ball actually freezes you in place for a moment. Not ideal for fighting this guy. But man, I love that sound. Hold on, let's do it again. Whoosh. I probably could have used that against the final boss, but oh well, whatever. Who does that leave again? Pharaoh Man! Oh, speaking of bosses that are made cripplingly easy with their weakness. The only boss, I believe it's the only boss that's affected by Bright. And boom! On. Damn it. I like freezing him just at the perfect height so that I don't have to jump. You're mine, Pharaoh Man. Okay, I would like it if you like landed in front of me so that I didn't have to keep jumping. It would make this fight go a lot easier. Thank you so much. Oh, well, that wasn't necessary. Oh well. Get me out of here. Alright. My shameful round 2. Or I guess round 8, because I had to kill myself. Oh, sorry, I can't hear the music over this loud, very loud chirping sound. Brought to you by the Mega Man 7 soundtrack. Alright, so first form, as always, just a nice little patient. Really, he looks more intimidating than he is. And now, he gets as intimidating as he is, because damn this form. Okay. Deep breaths. Okay. Yeah. When he... Okay, see? Now why couldn't I have done that before? Ow. No, wait. I got you, Wily. Oh! You can actually kill him when he's in that little escape pod with the rain flush, but I don't recommend it because it will crash your game and you won't ever be able to continue. But it is a neat little... I don't know if it's even a glitch. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe the game designers threw that in there to mess with players. A secret final stage? I guess that's another thing that Mega Man 3 provided for the series. Oh well. I really like the idea of this as like the escape tunnel. You can tell that it's kind of designed as this like little poorly constructed little area that Wily made just so that he could run away from Mega Man. I am gonna fill that up just in case. I don't want another debacle like we just had in that stage before this. Whoops. Although I can also use Ring Boomerang on the final boss if need be. Alright. Time for the coolest final boss music in Mega Man history! Maybe not. But this is what started making final bosses cool. Ow! Haha, gotcha! Gotcha! Where'd he go? Oh, I missed him. Disappearing capsule trick. You know, this is the first, and I feel like it was never done better after this. So, maybe you disagree, but I love this fight. It's just exciting. It's not difficult, but it's exciting, and that's what more can you ask for from a final boss? Especially if it's like the secret final boss. Whoops. Well, that was by accident. You should really watch where you're going there, Wily. But yeah, a quick final boss, but it is so exciting, and the flashing lights and the pumping music really is one of my favorites. And I mean, it was clearly such a, I guess, developer favorite that they reused the disappearing capsule trick for basically every game ever since this. When I was a kid, it always took me the longest time to realize that was supposed to be his flying saucer. In Mega Man 3, I thought it was a giant Mega Man head that was flying away and then got caught in a tree. But the ending sequence of that was so weird and incomprehensible anyway. Now we're riding home on a train, and a really, really awesome ending music track here. I mean, hell, when I say that this soundtrack is very blues-inspired, I mean, this speaks for itself. This is just bluesy as bluesy can get. Love the shifting background and everything, and the idea of the going home adds this dramatic weight to the ending. But yeah, this is Mega Man 4, and jeez, I love this game. I mean, it's not without its flaws, clearly. You know, some of the bosses were a little, it could have gone through some more testing, and there are some old series conventions that really they could have moved past, like the bosses that are so dependent on one weapon type to beat. But it does so much right. The stages are fun and varied. There's a lot of vertical sections that are used effectively. The weapon set is the best in the NES series, anyway. Many people will argue 9 is better, and I can get behind that. But personally, I prefer Mega Man 4's. I really enjoy the music. It's different, but it's memorable, and it's more moody and atmospheric, I feel, than 3 and 2 were. And it's just I don't know. It's a well put together game. It's a well balanced game. I feel the difficulty is in a right spot. You know, it's not quite as frustrating in some areas as 3 and 2 were, but it's not as easy as 5. It's like the perfect medium. If that's how I would describe Mega Man 4, it's like the perfect medium. And like I said at the opening of this stream, it has plenty of strengths and it has some weaknesses, but it's the most well-rounded of the NES games. And that's why it holds such a special place in my heart. And we have a neat little callback to Mega Man 2's credits theme. I must say, I love the colors. Especially during this ending sequence. When I was a kid, I always used to try to remember the order that they appeared in based on the colors. Weird kind of color association thing. But yeah, Pharaoh Man, super cool. Toad Man, I know people harp on him a lot, but Toad Man is actually one of my favorite bosses in the entire Mega Man canon. And it's purely aesthetic. I just love the look of him. I think he looks cute. Just a giant robot frog. And I like the color green that's on him too. It's a nice shade. And I wish the fight with him was more exciting. And I've seen, I think there are some fan-made games that actually fix that fight a little bit. Make the delay on his rain dance move a little bit shorter, so that you can't just charge up your Mega Buster and wail on him like that. Or maybe some of them had made it less interruptible. I don't know how. But, you know, there are a lot of ways to fix that fight. It's a small point. But yeah, thanks for joining me on this ride. It's been fun. Hope you had some fun. If you disagree with anything I've said, please tell me, because that's cool. I can see a lot of people telling me that, you know, screw my opinion on Mega Man 3, but whatever. But yeah, that's been fun. Maybe sometime I'll do a kind of neat little retrospective on other games in the series, or other series, or other things in general. You know, shit, I don't know. I got a lot of ideas. But this was fun. I kind of wish I got to... I remembered more to talk about Mega Man 9 and 10, but oh well. And kind of wish that I had more to say about the Game Boy games, because I haven't played them in so long, and other than 4 and 5 on the Game Boy, they were kind of forgettable anyway. But hey, maybe in a future stream I'll talk about the Battle Network series, which I love, the X series, which I have kind of a rocky relationship with, and maybe by then I'll have gotten the chance to play Mega Man Legends or the Star Force games. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for watching. Thanks for playing. And we'll see you next time. Later.